Alright guys, welcome back to Mr. Post Frame. For those of you who are new to the channel, my name is Paul. Today we're going to be talking about everything above grade when it comes to radiant heat. So this is going to be a series of videos. The first video is going to be installing your manifold. So we'll go over the types of manifold I use here in my own personal home, how to hook them up, kind of all the ins and outs of that. But before we get started, if you guys are interested in what happens below grade, we have a playlist for that. We'll leave a link there. The insulation that we're now using below grade is Hitzhalter. It's an incredible insulation. It's got your vapor barrier built into it. It's got terminicide in it. It's got your 6-inch grid for laying out all of your in-floor heat tubing. It is basically an all-in-one product that just makes install so much easier, so check that out as well. But let's go ahead and jump into the series on how to install everything above grade when it comes to your radiant heat. Today we're going to get the manifolds installed, and the manifolds I'm using are, I'm not even sure how to pronounce it, Rehau, R-E-H-A-U. They're all stainless steel, 1-inch. They come with balancers on the return manifold. They come with flow meters built on the supply manifold. They come with ball valves. They come with temperature gauges. They are just a really solid manifold. So I have 4 zones you can see here, and I have all these tied together from when we poured the concrete so I could pressurize all of them to make sure none of them got damaged. So I'm going to have to cut all those off, which we'll do here in a second. But I have 4 zones. I got a zone there, a 1-circuit zone, a zone here, and a zone there. So I have manifolds for 3 of the zones. This zone here, since it's only 1 circuit, that will get directly piped to one of the zone pumps and return. So I don't have to have a manifold there. So I want to cut these up high enough though, so if I ever need to fix something, I have enough exposed pipe that I can I basically have room to play here in the future. So probably cut them off, somewhere right in here, and that'll make all of my control board very accessible, and then my boiler will go right here. My boiler should be here at the end of the week, I'm hoping. So I guess let's get going. The first step in getting these manifolds mounted is to get all my pipes cut off. So another great thing about these manifolds is you can come off either end of them. So they're multi-directional. They have lots of options. So as I mount these, I'll figure out which way I'm going to come off, and I think it's going to work out pretty good. So we're ready to start hooking this up. So if you look down here, I marked all these, and so that's supply, return, supply, return, supply, return. So these 2 here are a loop, these 2 here are a loop, and these 2 here are a loop. So I know which ones are my supply. So that's a supply, that's a supply, that's a supply. And that goes to the top. So we'll mark 30 inches all the way across with a level. Then I know all my, everything will be the same. Alright, now that we got that marked, I'm going to fasten this up there. So you can see how this manifold, the supply, sits closer to the wall than the returns. So you put your supplies back behind that return section. Those 3 will hook in just like that. And then the returns will hook just like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and get these other two manifolds all mounted up as well, and then we'll go through and hook all the pipes up. And unfortunately with these, I'm just going to have to put a coupling in there. Even where it was not going to be long enough to make it up to the pump and return. It's not a big deal. I'll just put a coupling, two couplings in there, and we'll get these up to where the controls are going to be. Alright, so before mounting your manifold, you simply need to separate your supplies from your returns, and then slide all of your supplies up in between the supply and return manifold, so when you mount it, you don't have to bend those pipes and they fit in there good. And then by putting that level pencil line across there, I just run my top screws right into that pencil line, and that assures me that my manifolds will be level all the way across. It's important to me that the install is nice and clean looking, and that it just looks good. I feel like that's important. Alright, so we got those all mounted. Now it's just a matter of going through and hooking all of these pipes up. And as you can see already, it's already starting to make a lot more sense. And once I get this all hooked up, it is going to look nice and clean, guys. So that's what I want, and it's going to turn out nice. So I will start hooking these up. I'll show you how you hook one of these pipes up on one of them, and then I'm just going to do the rest. So there are a couple important notes. It's kind of almost like hooking up this gas line. You definitely don't want to over tighten. All right, so when you're hooking these up with this manifold, it comes with compression, comes with a compression nut, a split ring, and then your O-ring and your piece that slides up into the manifold, sealing it. So it's a pretty simple process. I'll take you through one right now. You want to take this piece right here, slide it up in there, take your tube, get it where you want it, mark it, make sure you cut it square, and then you can take this piece out. You're going to slide your compression nut on. You're going to slide your split ring on. And then you're going to slide this into the end of your pipe. You might have to kind of bend it down a little bit. Push it all the way up in there so it seats. And then hand tighten your nut. And it's important you only go hand tight. Once you have it hand tight, you can hold the top with a wrench and then tighten your compression nut, and you don't want to turn it any more than a half of a turn. So what I do is I just get it on there and go until it's nice and snug. And that's it. And you can always, if you have a slight leak, if we need to tighten any of these, we can definitely do that. But that's it, guys. So it's a pretty simple process. So I'm going to get all of these hooked on here, and once we get that on, we'll figure out which side of the supply and return manifolds we're going to come off of to go up to our controls, and we'll get all that stuff mounted up. Okay, so for this specific manifold, my controls are going to be right up here. So I'm going to come off, I'm going to have it come in this side and come back out this side. So over on this side of the manifold, we're going to have our fill and drain hookup. So that's what we're going to do now. And it just comes with a little washer that seals it. Basically just put that nut on there at an angle and then pull it tight. Drop that washer in there. And then this has got blue for the return. And it just gets screwed on there. So we'll get it on there finger tight, and then I'll come back and tighten that with a wrench. The supply is the same. Obviously, it's got a red cap for hot. Close it. As far as the other end goes, we have the same thing. We got red for the supply, blue for the return, and then there's a little space to put a thermometer in there, temperature gauge. All right, so all these fittings you see me putting on right now are basically isolation valves, and they all seal with a washer, and the system only runs between 12 and 18 psi, so all you need to do is just snug these up, and you shouldn't have any leaks. So you just take this little thermometer and it slides right into the socket, and then you just tighten it in there. Alright guys, I am officially done mounting and getting all of the manifolds prepared. So you can see on the return side you're going to have a drain fitting. On the supply side you're going to have a fill fitting where you can hook up just a regular garden hose too on either of those. And then the way I'm tackling this, I decided to do it, since these two are going to face each other, I came off with a 90 and then put my shutoff valve and thermostat right there, or thermometer right there, for both the supplies. And then the returns will come off. I'm going to have to buy a 90 right here. And so these two right here will both come in and 90 up. So I may have to change that. I'm not 100% sure because I won't know until I get my control system all mounted, but he did send me a picture of it, and I think the way I got this, it'll work, and if not, we'll just we'll figure it out. But that's that. That's step one to getting your in-floor heat control system hooked up, and that's getting your manifolds all hooked up and ready to rock and roll. So tomorrow I should be receiving my controls so I can get all that mounted and get all my thermostats wire hooked up, and I'll know where I need to run my power, and then I'll figure out what I need for fittings to get the control system, the pumps, and return lines hooked up to these manifolds. So, all right, guys, so that's gonna be a wrap on video number one for this series. For those of you guys who want to design your own Barndominium, we have a design service, so check that out, Design at Mr. Post Frame. Also, we have a Patreon group. It's for self-builders. It's to learn how to do stuff like this. It's a group of other self-builders. You get to share your project. You get to ask questions. We do lives every month. Check that out. Hopefully this video was helpful to you in getting started with your radiant heat. So with that being said, come back for the rest of the videos in this series. You won't want to miss them. And at the end of this series, I'll go ahead and talk about my system. This system here has been in service for, I think, 3 years. This will be the third or fourth season, and I'll kind of give you an overview of my thoughts, the efficiency of it, all that kind of good stuff. So as always, we appreciate you watching. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't, share us with your friends, and we'll catch you on the next video.